Hey, can I just say
Joaquin
something before we
Phoenix's
go live?
Joker.
Oh,
Can I
well,
say
we're
something
live
before
now,
we go
so
live?
that's a no.
Just like Canada, when the action starts, one backs out. Just to let you know, Brooklyn.
Wait, are you saying Canadians always back out? That's
Okay, we're
That's
actually
true.
live right now.
We're live? Sweet! We are totally advertiser friendly. Isn't that right?
Yeah, welcome to another episode of Ranker. We're talking about Marvel superheroes today, and it's definitely going to be a big, interesting topic. And I've got a lot of guests which want on. The first guest I've got is Brooklyn from Jukebox Trivia. Brooklyn, how's it going?
It's going. Yeah, I am definitely the lone Canadian here in a panel of 3 Americans and a Kiwi. So I have the list here, but I feel like they're always going to get no votes regardless. So I'm just going to put my best foot forward, and fuck Cody.
You're gonna what?
You're gonna what?
And
Buy me dinner first.
And leading on from that transition that Brooklyn just handily passed me, we've also got Cody on the panel. Cody, how's it going?
Fantastic. I'm here with one of my good friends, Robert. So we pretty much run every Rankum show that we're ever on together. So that's what happens. And Brooklyn, shave your head and get a real job because no one likes you.
And also here tonight, I've got Matt Kearns. Matt, how's it going?
Cody, Jesus, why don't you take that hat, throw it into a fire, and stop being such a jerk, man? Like, listen, I know you root for Boston, so you think assholes are cool, but they're not, okay? They're not. Also, Rob is great, but come on, man. What is he, a champion or something? No, he's not. He's not. Not like me, because I'm a champion, especially in the Schmodown Trivia Schmodown, which airs on Claire Podcast. You can find me soon to be defending my belt once I win a belt, which I will win a belt. If not, I'll go to JC Penney's and buy one. Hi, I'm here to talk about Marvel.
And speaking of someone else who's had trivia success in the Schmodown Trivia Schmodown, what's going to his last panel? He's the Fandom Fights Multiplex Champion, and that's Robert Parker.
That's me. Hello. I'm here. I'm excited. This is my second or third Rankum ever, so I still am young. I'm still learning how to play this game, and apparently Cody and I are here to fuck Brooklyn. So I'm ready.
Can I?
What did you just say?
Can I do some stretches first? I need do some lunges, some squats.
Oh, for the love of everything, Nico, shut your mouth.
This is gonna be fun.
So basically, how the show works is we all go on a round table nomination process. We nominate a superhero, and then everyone votes to see if they think it belongs in the top 12, and if it gets the majority votes, which is 3, then it makes it on. But if it only gets 2, that doesn't make it on. But everyone has one save they can use to save the superhero if they can. And as an added stipulation, I also actually put on here is we can if the superhero it can only nominate one version of a superhero. So the Peter Parker Spider-Man can make it on, but the Miles Morales Spider-Man can't. But I mean, in the Spider-Verse, there is some slight loopholes in there. But yeah, like for example, Spider-Woman, Spider-Gwen, and all that are still eligible. So
Spider-Pig still eligible.
Well, yeah, it's Peter Porker, not Peter Parker. So
woo!
Wow, nice.
But to throw it over for the first nomination, I'm going to throw it over to the Canadian, Brooklyn. Which Canadian are you going to bring up?
Actually, I'm not. I believe they are actually a Canadian. But I'll warn the panelists in advance that my first two nominees have not appeared in the MCU. They have not appeared in TV. They have appeared in a couple video games, and that's about it. My first pick is my favorite Marvel superhero ever. That is Robert Reynolds, aka Sentry. Sentry, for those of you who don't know, which probably is a lot of you, is essentially Marvel's Superman. He has the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns. He has super speed, stamina, agility. He has photokinesis. He has energy projection, molecule manipulation. He's a god. And what is his greatest enemy is actually himself. He has split personality disorder. So his biggest villain is the Void, which is an evil version of himself. And it's that concept of you are your own worst enemy. He has had some great runs in Marvel Comics, and especially in World War Hulk is his biggest one, whenever he actually fought Hulk to a tie. And I think just in terms of power and just that internal struggle down to 11, I think he needs to be on this list.
I'm going to throw it over to Cody. Cody, what do you say about Sentry?
Well, just like Canadians, they get a shot at something and blow their chances. Terrible pick. Awful pick. Good Lord. This is top 12. We're not doing top 50. Like, why would you pick something that's not been out there? And I looked him up. No, thank you. Like, you literally described Superman. I find Superman incredibly boring, so I would definitely not enjoy the Marvel version of Superman. So have a good day. Pass.
Thanks for listening. Yeah.
You're welcome. I listened.
I'm going to throw it over to someone who got really offended by that comment from Cody, Matt Kearns. Matt, is that a yes or no to Sentry?
Part of me wants to say yes, just to say fuck Cody. Listen, I actually am probably the only person on this panel who has actually read a comic book with Sentry in it. As much as it pains me after Cody's dumbass remarks about the Man of Steel to agree with him in a top 50, I can maybe see it sliding, but we're doing top 12. This isn't because he hasn't had a Netflix series or an animated series or a movie. It's just because this should be top tier Marvel people. And I feel bad because he's your favorite saying this, but I have to go no.
Robert, what do you say about Sentry?
I promise I'm not just saying this because I will be Cody's yes man for tonight, but I unfortunately do have to say no. Although, if Matt had given it his go-ahead, I might have said yes because I really trust Matt's opinion on comic book stuff because I am not a huge actual comic book reader. But I am going to say no on this one.
Oh, that makes me feel really good, Rob. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll only stab you in the back later.
Hey, Brooklyn, suck it.
Yeah. Cool.
Brooklyn's like...
But yeah, sadly, I'm going to say no to it too. But just for the reason, like, if I had to choose between reading a Superman comic and reading a Sentry comic, I would pick Superman over Sentry. I mean, because they are just so similar. It's just one of those ones which, if the parameter was a lot wider, maybe I would put it in top 20, but not top 12.
Marvel mainstreamers, making sure that they get their MCU movies and their TV shows and their comic figures.
Low your roll.
Just
low your roll.
Get some maple syrup and a hockey puck and be quiet. Good Lord.
No, it's not in season.
Oh.
Anyway, I'll go further.
We have seasons in Canada?
For his first nomination.
What'd you say?
It's still winter in construction.
It's you, Cody.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to show you how to correctly nominate somebody right off the bat that deserves to make the list. And that is Peter Parker, Spider-Man. Spider-Man is by far one of the best Marvel characters. And even if you don't like the movies, the comics are fantastic. The animated series is fantastic. And 1 and 2 Spider-Man, fantastic. Spider-Man is one of the most relatable superheroes and the most grounded. And Probably, I will argue, one of the best, has the most villains that
Rogues
battle
Gallery.
in even comics. So that's my choice.
I'm going to vote to Robert. What do you say about Spider-Man?
Yeah, absolutely. This was the first one I wrote down when I was making my short list before ordering it. Absolutely. Spider-Man, Cody even said it. He is the most relatable superhero of all time. And that's just because he has goodness in his heart, and sometimes he messes up, even in the comics and the movies. He is fighting a villain, so he doesn't have time to go hang out with Mary Jane or Gwen Stacy or something like that, and he misses a date with them. He's just so relatable. He's a kid, a young adult who's trying to balance all of his responsibilities and just doesn't want bad things to happen. He's also incredibly funny. The movies portray him very, very well sometimes. So I am saying absolutely yes to this. And I'm going to go make a real quick sandwich and I'll be back.
Okay.
Matt, what do you say about Spider-Man?
This is really tough. No, it's, if he had said anyone but Peter Parker Spider-Man, I would have to download it but yeah, Peter Parker Spider-Man is the best. He is, for a long time in the comics, he was Marvel's punching bag. Like, he just was the character who got crapped on so much, but that's kind of the whereas he is, as Cody and Rob said, he's a very relatable superhero. There is also this, like, sort of wish fulfillment of, like, we all wish that we could get the crap kicked out of us and, like, and I'm talking about metaphorically, not, and still keep, like, no, I want to take care of these people. I want to do this. So, yeah, he deserves a spot on this list. Oh, Cody, that's not nice.
In Brooklyn, what do you say about Spider-Man?
I don't even know what Cody's sign says, but I'm sure it
says Cody 1, Brooklyn 0.
Oh, typical Cody from Take 3. Just looking at Marvel's movies. Oh, what character has appeared the most? I'm gonna pick Spider-Man because he's been in the most movies, so he's obviously the best. Spider-Man. As much as I fucking hate Cody, Spider-Man it was also a yes from me. Because of what it did for the Marvel Universe. Like, he's the only character that has, like, the Spider-Verse. You spawn off great characters like Ultimate, Miles Morales, Spider-Man 2099, Spider-Man Noir, Peter Porker, Spider-UK, Spider, one of the biggest characters of 2010s. I know my comic book knowledge, Cody, so if you're gonna nominate me, I talked about all the things, not just the movies.
You picked a video game. Get on my face.
I picked somebody from comic books.
You didn't mention any other comics. So shut your face. Shut your face. Shut your face.
Hulk, Dark Avengers. Need I go on? Siege.
What?
What is happening?
I don't know. Everyone's gone crazy, but Spider-Man would have been a yes for me as well. Like, whether you're talking about comics, movies, TV show, doesn't really matter which ones. Like, and out of all the Marvel ones, he's probably the one with the most notable rogues gallery in the lot. Because, like, as we were talking about on late night in the debate, it's like there's a lot of superheroes we can pick to do video games with, but it's like, who would you pick for the villains? Because a lot of the other villains sort of cross over and go on to fight all the other superheroes at least once. So it's really hard to pick some that's iconic to that character to fight. But yeah, so Spider-Man is the first one to make the list. Matt, who's the next one? Who's you're going to bring up first?
So, my first nomination is going to be for, he's the character that is both a hero by day and by night, even though technically he doesn't know if it's day or night. It is Daredevil. I think Matt Murdock, Daredevil, is an extremely interesting character when you really get into his backstory before he went blind, all the stuff with his father being a boxer, who was killed for not throwing a fight. Then he grows up, he becomes a lawyer, and he fights crime at night with a really cool set of powers. Like, of course, it's that classic comic book thing of like you wear like you get hit by toxic sludge and it doesn't kill you. It makes like all your other senses heightened. He's a very relatable character. He also is a role model. Like Matt Murdock easily like could have been blind as a child and he could have just been like, fuck it. But he decided he became a lawyer so he could, and he only takes on like he doesn't fight for rich like asshole people who don't want to pay their parking tickets. He fights for people who like actually need it. And also, he's always been a hero. The way he got blinded in the comics, not really in the movies, but in the comics, is he pushes an old man out of the way who's about to get hit by a car, and that's how he gets blinded. Even when he was a little kid, and then he grew up into being one of the most badass Marvel Comics characters with a great Rose Gower, of course. Kingpin really shines in the Daredevil universe. He's also had some of the greatest Marvel stories written about him. I mean, of course, Man Without Fear being my favorite. So Daredevil is my first nomination.
I'm going to throw it over to Brooklyn. Brooklyn, is that a yes or no to Daredevil?
It's a big yes. Daredevil was also on my list of nominations. To put it simply, Daredevil is the things that I like about Captain America put into a better superhero. Like he mentioned, the great comic book stories, like Frank Miller's Man Without Fear is one of the greatest comic book issues of I believe the 90s, and even you could even argue for like maybe top 30 all time. But yeah, Daredevil's the best for me.
Cody, is that a yes or no to Daredevil?
This is a tough one for me, because, okay, Brooklyn, we can try to be civil here for a second. So there's a ton of comics out there. I'm not a huge comic reader. Everyone knows this. There's two comics that I will go to, and it's X-Men and Spider-Man. Those are my two that I read constantly. But Daredevil is just not one of them. And I haven't watched really the TV show. So what I have to base this on is the movie. And I'm sorry. And that happens. I mean, you can't expect everybody to read every comic and know every little backstory if that's the case. So for me personally, I have to give it a no just because I'm not super familiar with the source material. But I mean, I trust Matt's opinion. I just can't weigh in that much on him.
Yeah, I'm going to go next on this. Daredevil is one of those ones which I've read in the comics, and he's usually hit or miss for me. So I mean, sadly, I'm going to have to say no to Daredevil myself. But it's more of a. It's just because I'd have watched the show. He's not one of those superheroes I connect with. It's all down to Rob now. Rob, is that a yes or no for Daredevil?
Yeah, this is really interesting. This was when I made my short list of movies that like are nominees to be on my top 15, top 12, whatever. He was on the short list. Barely didn't make the top 15. I am going to have to say no, although I do really, really understand where you guys are coming from. I haven't seen the show either, but I understand that he's got a way richer backstory, and he's a lot more complicated of a character in the comics. And I want to read the comic, especially Frank Miller's run, but I have to say no on this one. I'm sorry.
And with that, Daredevil misses out.
Or does he?
Please
Do it.
I'm saving Daredevil. I'm sorry. He's probably my favorite Marvel character. He deserves a right for what he's done in the comics. And I know it's difficult because you guys don't read the comics, but even if you guys put him at number 12, I won't care. On a top 12 list, I mean, it literally went like the Creations of Stanley. It went like Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, then Daredevil. He earns a right to be there. Oh yeah, I didn't mention Matt Murdock, but that's because there's been no other Daredevils.
Daredevil Noir.
Oh yeah, but I don't really count that personally.
You have to count them all. They're all comic books. You got to mention them all. That's important.
But anyway, we're going to throw it over to Rob for his first pick.
All right, where do we go here? I'm going to start with a little bit of an unorthodox pick. This is an X-Men. This is one of the X-Men's. And
They're plural for X-Men.
Specifically for one of his 2 film appearances, or one of his 2 film iterations, I'm going to go with Quicksilver. I think specifically Evan Peters in Days of Future Past and Apocalypse is the most entertaining part of both of those movies. His one time in the bottle scene from Days of Future Past is the best scene of that entire film. So I'm definitely going with Quicksilver. I think he is a relatable character. He's portrayed very well by Evan Peters in the movie. If we want to go, technically it's not the same like name of the character, but I also really like Pietro Maximoff in Age of Ultron. He actually, like, we see what happens with him. He has stakes. His character actually has stakes. You actually care about his character, even though he's a villain turned hero. I think Quicksilver deserves to be in the top 12.
Now, Brooklyn, I bet you didn't see that coming. Is that a yes or no to Quicksilver?
Foreshadowing. I'm gonna say no because his now, Cody, before you have your little tangent there, let me give my reasons why. His portrayal in the movies are fine. He's okay in Age of Ultron, and yeah, he's good in like the actual X-Men movies. But for me, it's how they write him in the comics. House of M is fine, but I can't remember the actual name of the title. But there's a storyline where him and Scarlet Witch are brother and sister, but they're in a romantic relationship. Which is really fucked up. But yeah, I'm going to say no, just because the way they're in the comics.
I'm going to throw it over to Cody next. Cody, is that a yes or no for Quicksilver?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so one iteration. Guess what? I bet there's some iterations of a character that goes to a dark place too by a certain comic book writer. That doesn't the end all be all. If you go based on comics alone, he's literally Magneto's son, and that storyline battle between you is fantastic. And in the movies, he's fantastic. So I would give it 100% yes. I love Quicksilver as a character, and I even think Evan Peters' character brought what we wanted from Quicksilver to life.
I mean, if I'm going to throw it to Matt. Matt, is that yes or no to Quicksilver?
You seemed really confused. You're like, do I want to throw it over to Matt or not? Oh boy, this is interesting. In the movies, he is pretty good. I'm basing this a little bit more because the movies, like, we haven't really gotten, like, we definitely didn't get shit from him in the MCU, and in the X-Men movies so far, we've gotten like barely in Days of Future Past, less of him in Apocalypse. Like, it is cool that in those movies they have introduced a storyline of him being Magneto's son. I think that is a cool storyline. Do want to bring up though, Quicksilver, huge racist. He was not for Scarlet Witch dating Vision because he was a robot. And I'm like, come on, man. That's just rude. When I was a kid, he was always second-rate Flash. That's just like he always was. I do like Quicksilver, but I think there are better people from the X-Men universe who earn a right to be on this list over him. I do like him as a character, but you know,
I bet you think Man of Steel's a good movie too.
Yeah, I do. I also think Daredevil 2003 Director's Cut is a good movie too.
Was it a yes or no for you, Cody?
For me?
Well, yeah. No. Did you say yes or no? Or just?
Oh, I said yes, hands down. Hands down.
Quicksilver
is a fantastic X-Men.
That's what I was just making sure because I couldn't remember if it was high or if it's down to me to decide. So it's down to me to decide. I mean, Quicksilver has been one that I've always enjoyed in the comics and whatever iteration that they've done. And yes, I did enjoy Aaron Taylor Johnson in Age of Ultron as well. So I mean, and it's one of those ones that I'm going to say yes to because as a out there choice, it's his comic run is pretty good. So yeah.
All right. I mean, I'm just sitting here going like I had to save Daredevil and we were letting Quicksilver on.
Welcome to ranking.
It's a mad.
So Quicksilver made it. Quicksilver made it.
Yep.
Yeah, Quicksilver made it, Cody.
Yeah.
Peter Maximoff. Or Pietro,
Um,
depending on you watch.
Yeah.
It's a sad
Okay,
day
so
for Brooklyn.
that's down to me. And I'm gonna bring up the Canadian that I thought Brooklyn was going to bring up, and it's Wolverine. Hands down, this is a really great superhero. Like, he's had so many great comic runs, whether it's Old Man Logan or whether it's Days of Future Past, where he was kind of the focal point in that as well. It's
In the movie, not the comic, but
question.
answer.
Because are we counting Old Man Logan? Because technically, Old Man Logan is set in a different Earth, similar to how Miles Morales is a different.
He was
Spider-Man.
just okay. Give it to.
It's the same Logan character.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, Malcolm was
Yeah.
just talking about great comic runs with.
Yeah.
So just
I know. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Old Man Logan was pretty much is the same Wolverine. I mean, it's X-23, which is the other one, which if this one makes it on, this X-23 one wouldn't count.
No.
But yeah, and I mean, like Hugh Jackman playing him in the movies is just good casting. It's going to be sad we're not going to see him being Wolverine anymore. But yeah, Brooklyn, what do you say to your fellow Canadian?
Get your negative Nancy's out. Get your awfuls in the chat. Wolverine, along with another big Marvel superhero, are two that I'm going to say no to. I don't. We have a spit take from Matt. Wow.
What? I'm not doing this.
Yeah. No. This one, a Marvel superhero. If they do get mentioned, I'm gonna say no. I don't attach to them. Hugh Jackman was great in the movies, but their comic run is like fine. But yeah, I know that I'm in the minority there. So Cody, you can continue with that weird mug as much as you want.
Cody, can you tell Brooklyn why Canada will be disappointed in him?
This is the dude that brings up Century but says no to Wolverine. Where did we find this guy? Oh my gosh. No, like, you can't even say this. Like, if you even sacrifice, just eliminate the films altogether. Wolverine is a fantastic comic character. If you eliminate the comics and just go the animated series, Wolverine is a fantastic character. There's nobody probably in comics with such a twisted and harsh past like this man right here. And he does it so well. I honestly think Hugh Jackman of the comic run and the animated series, I think Hugh Jackman falls in number 3 behind all those two for me. But he's fantastic. He's one of the cornerstones, and I'm interested to see what the other one is that you don't like, but you know what? Yeah. It's okay. I'm giving it a 1,000% yes. There's no question.
Matt, what do you say about Wolverine?
Snick. Like, there's only one X-Men who they felt like in 2006-07 they were like, all right, we're gonna name a animated series after one X-Men that's gonna be the focal point, and there's gonna be and it wasn't Cyclops and the X-Men, it wasn't Jean Grey, it was fucking Wolverine. Brooklyn, I love you. I respect all opinions, but again, when we're talking about top 12 Marvel characters, to not have Logan, Wolverine on this list would just be absurd. It'd be as absurd as me having to save Daredevil, but someone like Quicksilver getting on. I mean, it'd be crazy. Oh, wait. Maybe this isn't absurd. I'm not going to let that go, by the way, for the rest of the night. But yeah, Wolverine he's like top 3 for me. And like top 5 comic book characters overall. So Logan gets on this list.
And with that, Wolverine has made the list. Rob, what would you have said?
Yes. Simple as that. You all said it already. Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. And Jessica Morgan in the chat put up a picture of a Tron and said, "This is the closest to a pitchfork I could find."
You brought it on yourself, Brooklyn.
That's fine.
Anyway,
Aquaman's gonna be on the list. Aquaman's gonna be on the list.
Brooklyn, who are you going to bring up next?
Sorry, it's on me now.
It's God, here we go. Who is it going to be?
All right, this is my second hipster pick. I will not be surprised if it gets shot down.
Really quickly, I'm sorry to interrupt, but can I guess? Is it Moana?
It is not. No, the person that I'm bringing up is actually Teddy Altman, otherwise known as the Hulkling. So for those of you who do not know who Hulkling is a member of the Young Avengers, the next team that I feel should be part of the MCU. They are fucking phenomenal. And to essentially describe very quickly, take Hulk, but a younger version of the Hulk, not as strong, can fly, and is a shapeshifter, like is a Skrull. Like I mentioned previously, he is part of the Young Avengers. He also has great runs in Civil War, Secret Invasion. That whole Skrull thing is great, and he's also one of the few openly LGBTQ characters. He has a relationship with Wiccan, essentially the Thor of the Young Avengers, and that's actually like one of the great relationships in comics today. So I'm going to throw in Hulkling, but I'm not surprised if it gets shot down.
Rob, your vote didn't matter last time. What do you say to Hulkling? You're muted.
Sorry, yep, I got it fixed. I just didn't want everybody to hear me typing. I was like Googling Hulkling. I'm really glad that you're bringing up all these hipster picks that I didn't know existed, because that gives me more things to Google and more things to like put on my read list. But unfortunately, I'm gonna say no just because of like lack of personal knowledge. On this one, I really appreciate bringing it up, and I am actually like legit. I'm actually going to look into this character because he sounds awesome. But I think there are others that I personally know better that I think deserve a spot first.
Hulkling was in the original comic of Old Man Logan, wasn't he? Was that someone else?
No, that was I can't remember if Hulkling was in Old Man Logan. I'm not 1,000% sure, but he might have been.
Yeah, but anyway, I am marginally familiar with Hulkling because of the games. And I'm actually going to say yes to this because he, from the games, like I found him a very interesting character. And I mean, Hulk flying kind of terrifies me. So, yeah. Matt, what do you say about Hulkling?
I hate saying this because it might annoy people. I've never been a fan of the Young Avengers. I'm not really a big fan of when comic book companies are like, let's take a bunch of these well-established adult characters and let's make them teenagers. Wouldn't that be cool? Because Spider-Man was popular and he was a teenager, and now I'm doing like a Stan Lee Excelsior. All right, Brooklyn, I like that you're bringing up all these characters I made, but I'm going to say Excelsior because it's going down because I don't fucking care. I'm sorry, I don't mean that. Young Avengers is okay, but
all right, let's move on because Cody's going to vote no.
I'm not trying to be mean. It's just like, again, I keep going back to top 12. It has nothing to do with movies or anything. It's just like he doesn't stand out. Like the Young Avengers all just kind of merged together in my mind.
And I'm going to point out your impression of Stan Lee's kind of sound like Scott Mantz crossed with Stan Lee.
Excelsior! It's a Citizen Kane of Marvel Comics. Isn't that right, kids? I will now do the rest of Rankum in that voice.
Are you going to say? So what are you going to say
Excelsior.
to Hulkling?
Oh, well, this is a little change of pace. I really respect Brooklyn's choice to bring him up. I think that's great. Actually, no, I didn't. I actually wrote help needed, new person on Rankum. Because what the hell, how did Brooklyn get up on here? This is ridiculous. This is an outrage. If
Come
you
from the
didn't think
dude
I
who's
like,
only read X-Men
if you
Spider-Man
didn't think I
comics.
liked Brooklyn before, like this list is making me more upset right now.
And with that, Hulkling doesn't make the list, but Brooklyn can save him if he can.
I'm not gonna bother. I'm not gonna bother.
Oh, Brooklyn, I feel bad. I feel like
Nah,
I
it's
broke
fine.
your soul. I'm sorry that Stanley was an ass.
It's fine. I am aware that I am the Paul Malcolm hipster negative kind of character at the Rankum, so just be prepared to get no's from Cody, kind of Roberts, almost always a yes from Matt, and then Malcolm depending on the character that he brings up.
Cody, who you going to bring up next?
Ooh, who I'm going to pick up? Well, let's go with something crazy.
Let's go with Iron Man, guys. Super hipster.
That's a real cool choice. Actually, I'm going to go even more hipster. I'm going to go Professor Xavier. And I can do this if Brooklyn would like. I don't need to even consider anything from the movie for Professor X. I think Professor X is such a crucial part to the X-Men. Just his powers alone and what he brings and the unity he forms with all the X-Men and his battle with Magneto throughout is one of the best. And the reason why I'm bringing up Professor X is I can't bring up Magneto because Magneto is one of my favorites of all time. But Professor X is so badass. It's not even funny. He is one of my absolute favorite character in any comics.
Brooklyn, Professor X is on the table. What do you say about him?
Okay, so I actually have an interesting opinion on Professor X. I respect Professor X, but much like lettuce in a BLT sandwich, lettuce is only good whenever it's combined with other things. So for me, Professor X is only good when he's around the other X-Men. Like on his own, he's not that great. And with the X-Men as a whole, by all means, yes, but on his own, he's just not.
You watch your damn mouth, sir.
It's fine. All right.
Robert, what do you say about Professor X?
Yeah, I was just making popcorn for this smackdown between Brooklyn and Cody. I was committing to the bit. But
he's eating like 7 things.
I'm gonna say, what, Rob? Are you pregnant or something?
Yes, Matt, I am. Thank you for asking. You're noticing. That's so kind. But for Professor X, I'm gonna go yes. I completely disagree with Brooklyn about how he's only defined by the other X-Men that are around him. Even if you look at like X-Men Apocalypse, which like I know we don't want to look at that movie, but he literally fist fights Apocalypse in his own brain. That's pretty cool. All of the stuff that he does with Cerebro in the films is done on his own. His powers alone, combined with Cerebro and X2, he almost eliminates every mutant on the planet, every human on the planet. Like his powers are unfathomable. The performance by both Patrick Stewart and James McAvoy kills it in this role. He's my favorite part of X-Men First. My second favorite part of X-Men First Class because Magneto's the best. But I'm gonna say yes to Professor X. Absolutely.
Matt, what do you say about Professor X?
I'm just noticing a pattern here of teaming up is that every time Cody says yes or no, Rob always says yes or no. Coincidence? I think not. Having said that, though,
too many questions. People are gonna start making phone calls, and they may not find you tomorrow.
If only. God, that'd be great. But after all that oddness, man, Pregnant Rob is weird. This is gonna be a rare instance where my enjoyment and like of a character is not based on their comics, but on their movies. James McAvoy's performance in First Class made Xavier one of my favorite X-Men. I think what he did in that movie and Days of Future Past and Apocalypse to a little bit lesser degree was so interesting. It took a character who was always just like I enjoy Patrick Stewart's performance, but it is very like I'm your mentor. Here, let me be your Obi-Wan Kenobi for this trip. And made him like a really intriguing character. And I think he 100% earns a right on this list. Sorry, Brooklyn.
It's fine.
And with that, Professor X makes the list, and for me, it would have been a yes as well. It's one of those ones that from the movies, he is definitely a good pick to have Patrick Stewart play him, and even James McAvoy was a good choice. And I even enjoyed him from the comics and the animated series. So Matt, who is your next pick?
All right, let's look at this list and see who's been put on this list and who has not been put on this list. Okay, so this is an uphill battle. This one that I'm choosing here. I know that going in with some of the people on this panel, but I really hope that they listen to me. I'm going with Mr. Fantastic. Here's why: the movies, yeah, blah blah blah. He's had shit movies, whatever. This is not top. Oh, good. Cody, walk away. In the comic books, Mr. Fantastic is one of the single most important characters in the series. Beyond just being a part of the Fantastic Four, the things he's done in so many of the crossovers, he's a vitally important character that if you were to take him out, there would be so much death and annihilation. It's not even... It's insane to even think about. In his own run with the Fantastic Four, he's an endlessly interesting character. He's constantly trying to heal his best friend Ben Grimm's because he literally feels responsible for what happened to his family, and he's constantly trying to change them and trying to help them. His relationship with everybody he comes in contact with is interesting because he's kind of like an old school dad in a good way, where it's like he kind of puts the weight of the world on his shoulders in a really sort of stoic way, where it's not like I need to do this for appearances. He just feels like it's his duty. He needs to help people. He does that constantly throughout the comics. I don't care if he's had shit movies. I don't care. When it comes to top 12 Marvel characters, he has every right and reason to be on this list.
Brooklyn, what do you say about Mr. Fantastic?
Could not agree more with Mr. Kearns. He is actually one of the most important characters in Marvel Universe. You think about like one of his main big baddies is Galactus, and he creates the weapon. I forget what the name is, but it's essentially like a Deus Ex Machina, just like, oh, do this and it kills Galactus. Also, think about the creation of like the Negative Zone and his role in Civil War for me. That gets a yes.
Yeah, and I'm going to go next on this. Matt, that was a fantastic pick to bring up. I mean, Mr. Fantastic did help create the Illuminati that sent Hulk into space, and he was definitely crucial in the Civil War arc. So, I mean, with that alone, I'm going to say yes to him myself, because with the comics, he is really great in the comics. I mean, movies aside, I mean, they are what they are, but yeah.
They failed a great character. That's exactly what it is. They have failed a great character.
I mean, the original movies were better than Fantastic, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, the shit I took an hour ago was better than Fantastic.
Anyway, Rob, what would you have said to Mr. Fantastic?
Initially when the pick was brought up, I was leaning towards no, but actually I think Matt made a really compelling argument from a comic book standpoint why he is one of the most important characters in the Marvel canon. So I probably would have said yes, even though as far as the movies are concerned, you picked the wrong member of the Fantastic Four. I think you made a really solid argument, and I would have had to say yes.
Thank you.
That can be simple.
And Cody, what would you have said to Mr. Fantastic?
Well, Civil just left the effing building. I think Reed Richards is a fantastic character in the comics, but guess what? Some things come out that you have hopes and dreams and you think that might be good, and then you walk in and have to watch 2.5 hours of shit on screen. I don't find him that compelling of a character. I feel like the movies have ruined that character. I believe there are better members of the Fantastic Four than Reed Richards. Hot take, sorry. But it's to use Brooklyn's standpoint. I think they're better as a team than when they are him as a character. I find Fantastic Four as a cohesive ensemble. So that's where I went on that one. But yeah, absolutely would have gotten a no for me. But that's just it.
Hashtag John Krasinski for Mr. Fantastic in the MCU.
Dude, he would be. I'm sorry, that picture that came out, he would fucking kill it. Like,
What? How about this?
What?
Remember when Miles Teller was in Whiplash? What if we put him in Fantastic?
Ooh, and we only show
because
we only
honestly,
show an
I've
hour and 40
always
minutes
hated
of him.
Miles
That's
Teller.
good.
I've always hated Miles Teller as an actor.
Whiplash is a crap movie, anyways.
The one actor from the Planet of the Apes movies who does the mocap, Toby Kebbell. Let's put him in that too.
Ooh.
Anyway,
Jordan.
Anyway, time to get.
Hey,
to this
he was
track.
good in that movie.
He was good in Black Panther. That was right.
That's true. He was good in that.
Anyway, time to get this train back on the tracks. Robert, who are you going to bring up next?
All right, we're going there. We're going MCU.
Okay.
And also like
You lost Brooklyn.
decades of other like TV and stuff like that too. We're going Hulk, Bruce Banner. Not only is he one of the most intelligent characters in the Marvel canon as Bruce Banner, he's also one of the most intimidating and physically competent as his alter ego, the Hulk. You look at all the iterations from Mark Ruffalo to Ed Norton to Lou Ferrigno, Eric Bana, Bill Bixby. This is a character that has been around in media, in TV, movies for a long, long time, in comics even longer. This is a really important character in the MCU as far as Mark Ruffalo and Ed Norton's performances. This is a great character in the comics. We hear all the time about, when are they going to do Planet Hulk, like standalone really, really well. I think Bruce Banner needs to be on this list. Top 12 Marvel characters. Marvel heroes, the Hulk has to be here.
Yeah, it's a yes for me. Brooklyn, what are you going to say?
Yes, it is from one of my favorite storylines of all time. Cody, if you said it, I would have said no. I do think that there is a better version of the Hulk out there, but like what Hulk has done for Marvel, like in terms of like comics, media, TV, video games, television, yeah, you know what I mean. It's a yes.
Just out of curiosity, which version would you have
I am referring to Maestro Hulk. If you watched the Twitch stream last week, I marked it whenever I saw him on the Lego Marvel superhero video game. I thought it was pretty cool.
I always thought
He was essentially like an old man Hulk. Sorry.
Yeah, that was the one we saw when I was pitching Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, I always thought Maestro Hulk was still Bruce Banner, but obviously I'm wrong. But anyway, Matt, Hulk made it on. What would you have said?
Oh, 100%. I mean, if for nothing else, Rob brought up my favorite interpretation of that character, which is the Lou Ferrigno. I love that show. I don't care. Yeah, Hulk deserves a right. Stop. I'm saying yes, Cody. I'm agreeing for God's sakes. I like the Lou Ferrigno version. It's an interesting depiction of that character, even though technically in that show it's David, not Bruce Banner, but it still is the same thing. They just switched up the names. But yeah, Hulk in that top 12 deserves a right to be on there.
And Cody, who's known as a big green monster in the Take 3 chat, what would you have said?
Well, if you would have said Hawkling, because Hawkling is like the best one ever, because I think the Young Avengers need to take over, and that's a great thing to add. Oh, wait, I'm not Brooklyn. I'm Cody, yes, because this was the correct Hulk to bring up.
Oh dear, what a time to be alive.
Or dead. One of the other.
Yeah. Anyway, it's back to me to nominate, and I'm gonna bring up an interesting pick. I mean, the Venom is a villain, but Agent Venom is not. Agent Venom is Flash Thompson, and I think he is an interesting pick, and he's definitely one that's grown on me ever since I've read him in the comics.
I see what you did there.
But yeah, this is one of those. Flash actually managed to control Venom symbiote and use it for good, as opposed to evil, is what most people know him to be. And he's currently traveling around as part of the Guardians of the Galaxy, I believe. I don't know if he still is or not, but yeah. Brooklyn, Agent Venom. What were you about to say, Matt?
I said, can I go? Because I have my answer here.
Yes.
This is a noble thing to bring up, but this is when I hate when Marvel does this in the comics, which is they take a villain, a really good villain, and because he sells well in comics, they go, we gotta hero him up. No, Venom's not a hero. He's an interesting character, but he's not a hero. He's from the and listen, if you like that run of comics, that's fine. I just kind of don't like when they try to make Magneto a hero, and they do all this because they're like, we make them heroes, they'll sell better to the kiddies. So it's a no for me, sadly. If we were doing villains, top 5 for sure.
Brooklyn, what do you say about Agent Venom?
I'm actually really surprised that Agent Venom got mentioned. He was in my honorable mentions for people after the list. So yeah, you get a yes. I think Agent Venom was like one of the cooler characters of Marvel, and how they were able to transform sort of like how Venom was just sort of like a yin and yang Spider-Man, and be like, oh, let's actually like let's make him a little more grounded, but still give him like that kind of weirdness to him. So I will say yes.
Robert, Agent Venom is on the table. What do you say?
I'm gonna have to lean no for the same reason that Matt said. Is when I'm not a huge fan of when villains turn good just cause. That's one of the reasons that I really don't like New Goblin or like in Spider-Man 3. I mean, Spider-Man 3 has its own problems, but I just don't like when they take a villain character and try to redeem them and do it poorly. So I'm going to have to say no on this one. But this is another character that I will add to the list we'll look into after this show.
Cody, what do you say about Agent Venom?
To touch on Matt's point, Magneto could be a hero if you decide to stand on the same line as he decides to stand on, if you agree with his mission. But this option was like a turd in the wind. I'd have to give it a no. I don't think Venom can be a hero. If that's an option, I'm totally against that option because Venom is literally one of the most ruthless Spider-Man villain of all time, and I don't want to see him like save people. I'm against that altogether. I want Venom to try to kill Spider-Man at every last chance. So, yeah, no thanks.
Anyway, it's back to Brooklyn. Brooklyn, who are you gonna bring up next?
Well, I'll let you guys know that I'm out of hipster picks. We're actually going to like familiar characters now.
Jubilee.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna go over this one. We're gonna cross the fingers and hope for the best. We're gonna try for Punisher. Punisher is one of my favorite characters as of late. Especially his interpretation in the Netflix series. John Bernthal fucking kills it. And I say that because that is the only series that Sue was like, hey, you want to check out this Punisher series? I think it's going to be really good. I'm like, yes, please. We're going to watch this. So if it gets Sue's approval, then fuck yeah, it gets on the list.
Cody, Punisher is on the table. What do you say?
Oh, Brooklyn. Poor
What did I miss?
Brooklyn. Picking up the wrong hero yet again. No, actually, I'm going to be nice on this one. I'm actually going to give it a yes vote. He didn't really make my full list, but I do play rank them a little different. I like to have stuff at the bottom so I can put. But I think Punisher, especially the two movies, Warzone and the John Travolta movie. I have a secret love for both those movies at times. I think Warzone is really underrated as a movie, because it's people just don't think of it, and some people just think it's bad because they've never seen it. But it's actually really good, and I haven't watched. I don't know what that says. And Hearts Crew. Okay, I give it a no vote because F that, and I don't want Brooklyn to ever think that. No, but yeah, Punisher's a correct choice. I think of him more of that's that cross line of an anti-hero thing. He does good, but pretty much he just runs everybody down with his.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the Punisher series, so I'm just going off the movies.
Go watch it. It's unreal.
So yeah, I'll give it a yeah. Why not?
But I did say that anti-heroes do count because at times they do save people as well. So,
yeah, somewhat.
But yeah, Matt, what do you say about Punisher?
Oof, this is difficult because I didn't get to hear Brooklyn's argument. But
can I explain it briefly, Malcolm?
No.
Yeah.
This is the one Netflix series that Sue wanted to watch. I'll put that into perspective.
Oh, okay. So that literally means nothing to me. I'm not trying to be mean. That's hey, cool, your wife wanted to watch a TV show.
Matt Kearns is a straight savage.
Straight savage.
I'm sorry. That's I thought it was gonna be some speech near to what I did for Mr. Fantastic. I'm gonna say no, just because if I said no to when they heroed up Venom, if I say yeah, even though I do like Punisher as a character, he was introduced as a villain. I like him more as Spider-Man's antagonist than as a hero, so I have to go no. It's just I can't be oh, fuck Venom being a hero, but Punisher as a hero, yes.
Yeah.
No, I can't do that. I mean, I could, but...
I mean, I'm going to go next on this. For me, it's a no. And this might be a hot take, but I've just never really gravitated to the Punisher as a character at all. To me, he's just always seemed to be one note, and all his arcs seems to be, well, get out guns for these tasks. He just, yeah.
But he should be an injustice, right, Malcolm?
Oh, sure. Big, yeah.
Just rubbing salt in the wound there.
He was literally the first one that came to mind.
What was that, Bridesmaid? I can't quite hear it through my headset.
Oh.
Hey, you just wait. I'm writing the questions for this episode coming up, and I'm gonna.
Anyway, Robert is decided to vote. What are you going to say to Punisher?
I love that I'm deciding the vote on this because once again, Cody and I are in agreement. Punisher is yes.
Get a room.
I have not seen the Netflix show either, but I also have a secret love for both Punisher movies. Warzone is fantastic. Newman is in that movie, and he's incredible. Ray Stevenson is in Warzone is just a super underrated, campy, schlocky superhero movie that I love. And 2004's Punisher, I actually really like how Tom Jane portrays that. He's not always about murdering everybody right away. There's a scene where he captures one of Travolta's henchmen, and he kind of has him hanging in a room, and he says, "Oh, if I burn your flesh with this propane thing, it's just gonna feel super cold because it's your skin just melting off." And he goes behind him and he just puts a popsicle up against his back, and that's and has the propane thing running to the side. That kind of thing just makes me love those movies and love this character. Yeah, Punisher's on the list for sure.
And with that, Punisher makes the list.
How many do we have so far?
We've got Spider-Man, Deadpool, Quicksilver 6, 7, 8.
God, wow, this is actually going fairly fast.
There's a lot. Wait. There's only 4 spots left.
Yeah.
There's only 4 spots left.
Yeah. You know what? Only 2 got shut down.
No, didn't we shut down one of?
Curious about real characters now.
No, wait, we shut down Malcolm.
Yeah, Agent Venom.
Oh yeah, we did.
And this is the first
You
character.
also shut down Daredevil. Don't forget that. I had to
And
save
this is
him.
the first character Brooklyn has gotten on the list today.
You're welcome.
Cody, who are you going to bring up next?
Oh, where do I go? Fuck it, I'll go here. And this is gonna be, I know, not a popular one, maybe, but I love what they've done with the character in the movie. Probably has one of the most heart in any of them, and I'm gonna go Rocket Raccoon. Rocket Raccoon has kind of like when he first showed up in Guardians, I was like, okay, he's a slapstick, I'm fine with that. But like, he actually is one of the most grounded and actually has like most heart carrying through the entire story. So I'm going to bring up Rocket.
Rocket Raccoon is on the table. Robert, what do you say about Rocket Raccoon?
Once again, Cody and I are in alignment. Yes. This is my favorite Guardian of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Not only is the voice performance by Bradley Cooper incredible, but I'm with Cody. Like, they really brought this character initially as, oh, it's just like a foul mouth, like pissy raccoon. Like, okay, that's funny. But also, they gave this character a lot of backstory and a lot of heart without giving us a lot of exposition about the character. Just that one scene in the bar on Nowhere in Guardians where he goes, I didn't ask to be torn apart and put back together. Like, I didn't ask to be this crazy, like, genetic, disgusting machine thing, right? Like, he is a tragic character. He's a character that has heart. It's a character that has humor. It's a character that, underneath all the layers of being a professional asshole, as he's called in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, he actually does have a lot of heart. He cares about people. We see that in Infinity War when he has this scene with Thor. That's one of my favorite dialogue scenes in that film, when he goes, okay, time to be the captain now. And he's still got jokes, but he's also a really important, good-hearted, like, he's just a great character. I really love Rocket Raccoon. So, yeah.
I'll go next on this. For me, this is one that I don't know so much from the comics, but I'm going to say yes to it because of what I've seen in the MCU with Bradley Cooper. Because he's the way I would probably imagine he is like in the comics. So it's one of those ones like, if I read the comments, I might love the character more. But yeah, Brooklyn, your vote didn't matter, but what would you have said?
This actually would have been the one time where I would have used a coin. I was torn 50-50 because when I initially heard the nomination, I was leaning towards no because I feel like he's best with group, but then I actually heard great arguments from Robert as to why he should be on the list. So we'll say with this being yes and the actual thing being no, it would have gotten a no. So yeah, just based on the coin toss, would have been a no for me. It's fine.
And Matt, your vote wouldn't have mattered, but what would you have said?
My vote would have been a no as well, just based on the fact that we're getting to, there's less and less like spots, and there's another Guardian that I would prefer to be on this list over Rocket. So it's really one of those, it's never against the characters, just there's another Guardian I would rather see on this list.
Your time, Matthew, who are you going to bring up?
Well, golly, all right, at this point, he's gonna get a no vote, but I just want to talk about Peter Quill, Star-Lord. In the comics, he's a really interesting character, but it's the movies we've seen so far. Chris Pratt's portrayal, he's kind of like, he started off as like kind of an asshole, like Han Solo wannabe, but that's exactly what a kid who's grown up in the 80s, who got abducted by aliens, who never really got to grow up on Earth, would think a cool adult is like a cool space pirate. It's, it's Kevin Bacon's this, and the progression that we've seen him from Guardians to Guardians 2 to an Infinity War, he's just gotten more and more complex. His relationships with the rest of the Guardians, he's kind of like the center of everything, especially like Guardians 2. It's his moments that are the most powerful to me. It's the moments at, spoilers, Yan Yu's funeral. It's finding Ego is his father, and the relationship that develops with that, and then finding out that Ego killed his mom, and his reaction to that. Like, there's such a rawness to this character that I just find really relatable, and he's my favorite Guardian. So yeah, Peter Quill, Star-Lord.
Brooklyn, your vote didn't matter last time, so what do you say to Peter Star-Lord? Yes or no?
Nah. Simple. I just don't find him that interesting. I read some of the comics. His comic he's actually better in the comics than he is in the movies. I just find him kind of stale.
Cody, Star-Lord is on the table. What do you say?
How many spots are left? 3?
3.
Yeah, I can't do 2 Guardians. I think the best one got on there. I do like Chris Pratt a lot, but also when I rewatched Avengers Infinity War 3 weeks ago, he still ticks me off when he punches Thanos in the head. Because you could have stopped this.
Whole point!
I know, I'm just kidding. I have to give it a no because I can't. There's at least 3 characters that we're missing, I think. So, yeah.
Robert, Star-Lord is on the table. What do you say about Star-Lord?
Yeah, for the same reasons Cody just said, I think we already got the best Guardian. And I do really like Chris Pratt's performance, and I agree with Matt. His reactions and his moments are the best moments of Guardians 2. I just think there's at least 3 more characters that deserve a spot a little bit higher. So
fair enough. Can I also just be the one asshole who says I like Rocket Raccoon Bradley Cooper's portrayal, but he's okay. Like, come on.
Yeah.
And that's not me being vengeful. That's, yeah, I do like Rocket, but come on, guys.
Yeah.
Star-Lord. Whatever.
And for me to Star-Lord, I just say who.
Oh, dude. All right. You know what? For the injustice comment, I deserve that, Malcolm.
But yeah, in all seriousness, it would have been a no for me too. Just like, if I was to rank the Guardians in the way I like, for me, Drax would have been just above Star-Lord. But yeah. I mean, but in the comics, I enjoyed him a lot more in the comics. I mean, the full prints didn't do him justice, but yeah. Anyway, it's Robert's turn. He looks like he's.
Rob forfeits his round.
Robert's here.
I'm gonna get something else to eat.
He's on his 5th course right now.
Guys, now I have some nice ice cream to put down my 7-Over on treats.
Water, actually.
Oh, okay.
But no, okay. So I think this is a character that both. We have to pick one version of the character. I didn't think of that. I'm gonna go with Hank Pym's Ant-Man. I was thinking about Scott Lang, but I'm gonna go with Hank Pym. In the animated series and films, he is, and even in the comics as well, he is the sort of character who put the Avengers together. In the movies, it was obviously Iron Man and Captain America and that gang, but Hank Pym was really the person that we have to thank for the Avengers being created. In the movies, obviously, Michael Douglas does a great job in this role. I just think Hank Pym's Ant-Man is one of the most influential characters in Marvel canon. In the comics, he's the one who made Ultron. I think that there is some controversy revolved around his character, but that also, in the comics, but this also I think adds more complexity to his character, and I just think Ant-Man in general, as both the leader of the Avengers, how we see him in the MCU, those moments where he's so protective over Janet, when he punches that shield guy in the face, that's pretty neat. So I gotta go Hank Pym.
I believe in the comics, Hank Pym is actually Ultron at the moment as well, because for some strange reason, I think Hank Pym and Ultron merged into one being somehow.
This is the reason why I don't read current Marvel runs.
But yeah, I'm gonna go first on this. I don't like the Hank Pym comic version of Ant-Man. I like him I like Hank Pym in the movies, but in the comics, he's a bit of a dick. Well, yeah, he founded the Avengers and all that, but he also created Ultron, and I don't know if Robert was saying it's a good thing he created Ultron or not, but it's a no from me. Brooklyn,
Add simplicity to his character. That's all I was saying. Add simplicity to his character and importance to his character.
Brooklyn, what do you say about Hank Pym Ant-Man?
I would actually give Robert a yes. I agree. While there are some controversial domestic violence issues, I think he is essential to Marvel canon. He is responsible for one of my favorite villains in the comics, but worst in the MCU of Ultron. And he isn't also Ant-Man. He is also Goliath. He is Giant Man. He is Yellow Jacket. He also creates Pym's Avengers later on, which predominantly features Jocasta, which is another interesting character, which is kind of like the female good version of Ultron. So I'm going to say yes to Hank Pym.
Cody, is that a yes to Hank Pym as Ant-Man?
I mean, I don't really get along with Robert that well, and I think it's not a great choice, but I agree. That's a good one. I love Ant-Man. I love Ant-Man. I love the character of him. I know this is only one, but Hank Pym is a fantastic. I did the domestic stuff. I did read, and I agree that's a little questionable. But I agree 100% with Brooklyn, surprisingly, that one of the best villains in Marvel Comics, and one of the worst portrayed on screen. Not by voice acting, because I think the voice acting was on point. I just think they squandered a huge opportunity.
Yeah,
it was the Avengers versus the Transformers. So, but yes, I give Hank Pym a yes.
And with that, Hank Pym as Ant-Man makes the list. Matt, what would you have said?
You went with the wrong Ant-Man. I would have. Scott Lang was actually probably the next person I was going to nominate. So shit. I'm sorry. Like Hank Pym's okay, but like I've always preferred Scott Lang in the comics, and also Paul Rudd's performance just sort of pushed it over for me. But here.
It's back to me now. I'm going to bring up one, which I don't know if he'll make it, but this is definitely a favourite Marvel character of Robert Meyer Burnett's. He champions his character all the time. Anyone who's watched Heroes a lot has known that he talks about this all the time. And yes, it's Moon Knight I'm going to bring up. With 2 spots left, it's a risky pick, but I'm going to try it anyway. This is one which looks really cool, and it's just his talents a lot different from a little bit different from other heroes. People are going to make the comparisons like he's like Batman, he hides in the night and all that, but he's still an interesting character, and it's one of those ones which I've always liked seeing in the comics. Brooklyn, what do you say about Moon Knight?
Moon Knight is sort of like the top prospect for the MCU or Marvel Media. He's the biggest character to not have his own like TV series or to be featured in a movie. So I am going to say yes because of just sort of his badassery. How he's sort of like if Batman and Dr. Fate sort of had a love child, and he had like sort of this stealthy kind of mystic eeriness, and then he also has like 3 different personalities and how he got his powers in Egypt. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Cody, what do you say about Moon Knight?
To quote from Collider Live, "Hey Malcolm, go sleep in the hallway." Bad choice. I would disagree with this one. I just no. Just basically with 2 people left, I could not even come close to putting him on the list, and I apologize, Malcolm. You don't have to sleep in the hallway.
And Matt, Moon Knight is on the table. What do you say?
I say yes. I think in the comics, Moon Knight is an extremely interesting and fascinating character. I don't understand why he has not been given an animated, like even a cameo on an animated show. I don't understand. He's an endlessly fascinating character in his multiple iterations. And I think when it comes to top 12 characters, sure, would I probably rank him a little bit lower, but I think he has every right to be on this list. So Moon Knight gets a yes from me.
And with that, Moon Knight makes list. Robert, what would you have said?
I also would have said no, just for the fact that with these few spots left, for me personally, I would have wanted to put on characters that I knew a little bit better. Still respect the choice. I just would have said no.
And we've got 1 spot left. Brooklyn, can you fill in that 1 spot?
I think I can. I think I can. All right, so we got Inky Dinky Doink, Doinkly, Doinkette, Smurf, Papa Smurf, Brady Smurf, and Moon Knight. Yeah, we're gonna try for this one because I think I have like a priority list, and I know that the top one is probably gonna be iffy, but I'm gonna go for what I think is a slam dunk here. Deadpool. Deadpool is one of the funniest comic book characters in regardless of Marvel and DC, but just his wit and how the writers approach him and the great how he's portrayed in the movies. I mean, obviously, like Ryan Reynolds is the spot on cast choice. He is responsible for the movie. He's one of the best X-Men. I mean, he's responsible for so many things. Like he goes, he has the abilities and the marksmanship, but he's gone toe to toe with like Thanos, and he's gone solo against like these big giant villains in the Marvel universe. So I'm gonna try for Deadpool.
I'm going to go for firstness, and for me, it's just a yes. I mean, Deadpool is a really interesting character, and like his 4th wall breaks is just one of those ones. Like, this is one that everyone had been wanting a movie for ages based on him, but it wasn't until Fox failed him in X-Men Origins that they started a big crusade to get Ryan Reynolds into the suit and a proper adaptation to come. I mean, did it come because Ryan Reynolds leaked the footage himself to just try and make Fox see that this is what we wanted? Maybe, but it worked. We got him. And I do not know why Fox thinks a PG-13 Deadpool 2 is a good thing. Cody, what do you say about Deadpool?
So this is going to be a hot take. What?
Never mind.
Well, this is going to be a hot take. I don't like Deadpool. I'm an X-Men fan. I find him kind of like the butt of all the jokes. I think everybody ranks the first Deadpool movie way too high on all list because he was the first rated R and said cuss words and did that. But the story itself is very boring. Especially, it's like Cooter, save the girl, do the villain, blah blah blah. Let's make meta jokes. It just he never has worked for me. I don't find him humorous. We already have him in all the list.
What?
You're breaking up quite a lot there, Cody.
Oh, am I? Okay, sorry. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Better now.
Technically, we got your vote though. That's the good thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't like Deadpool. Okay, thanks.
Anyway, Robert, what do you say about Deadpool?
I'm gonna say yes. I do like this character. I do like his portrayal in the films. There's like 5 other Marvel characters I wish would have been brought up, and I'm sure we can just mention them in honorable mentions, but I think they should have been on this list. I think it's a crime for a couple of them that they weren't even brought up in the first U15 picks, but that's just me. I am going to say yes because Deadpool deserves a spot. There's just some of these others that I didn't think should, but that's me.
Um,
And Matt, what would you have said to Deadpool?
No, I'm sorry. Hot takes and all. I have never liked Deadpool. I have never. I saw that movie. I was like, what was everyone else served in their theaters? Like, it's Deadpool in the comics has always been that asshole drunk uncle at Christmas who like downs a bunch of Bud Light and thinks he's funny. I have never enjoyed this character. The only times I've ever enjoyed is when Wolverine has like slashed him up into a million pieces. Sorry, I just like Ryan Reynolds is a great actor. I still have not seen Deadpool 2 because I honestly didn't care for the first Deadpool movie, and at least I know what my number 12 is going to be.
Yeah, and that's our list. On our list we've got Spider-Man, Daredevil, Quicksilver, Wolverine, Professor X, Mr. Fantastic, Hulk, Punisher, Rocket Raccoon, Ant-Man, Moon Knight, and Deadpool. Brooklyn, what are some honorable mentions that you had?
All right, to run through some right quick, but the one that I was torn between that and Deadpool was Doctor Strange. But I also had I had Beast, Black Bolt, Iron Man, Silver Surfer, Microchip, sidekick of Punisher, Vision, Yondu, Justice, who is fantastic, who becomes Major Victory later, who's like imagine if Captain America was in Guardians of the Galaxy, like kind of cosmic, and then Trauma, who is really fucking cool. He turns into your biggest fear, and he is sort of the big turning point for Avengers Initiative, which is a post Civil War storyline, which is fucking awesome.
And Cody, what are some honorable mentions that you had?
The entire X-Men team aside from Deadpool, Captain.
Yeah, you're breaking up. You might need to reset your router.
Maybe drop the call and rejoin.
Yeah, that usually can work.
Yeah. Anyway, while we're waiting for Cody, Matt, what are some honorable mentions that you had?
Some of the honorable mentions that I had were Scott Lang's Ant-Man. I had Iron Man, Captain America. I also had The Thing. I had Hulk on my list as well, which got on there, and I also had for Sandy, which I apologize, I didn't get the fight for him. I also had Cyclops on my list as well.
I'll go back to you, Cody. What are your honorable mentions?
Can you hear me? Am I breaking?
I can.
Out?
Yep, I can hear.
Nope, you're good.
Pretty much every X-Men besides Deadpool and Captain America. I find it really funny that Matt's wearing a Captain America shirt and he never got brought up. So, yeah.
Fun fact: Captain America was the other person I would have given a hard no.
I knew that. I knew that from the start as soon as you said that.
I thought it was you were going to be
Because
Cap
he's
or Iron Man.
American.
No, it's
Iron Man
not
would've been a hard
even that.
Can we also just talk about I'm so happy that me and Cody really agreed on Deadpool because I was afraid I was going to have to be the one
The
person
first
fighting
movie
against
is the
him.
most overrated movie I have ever heard.
Dude, high five.
It's the
Thank you. I'm sorry.
It's the most cookie cutter superhero movie, and why people rank it up so high just because he says the F word is completely ridiculous. Go eat your chimichanga somewhere else.
People also try to say that, oh, it's being meta. I'm like, no, it's not. You guys need to look up a fucking dictionary definition.
I mean,
of what meta is.
For me, the reason I like Deadpool so much is more because it's so accurate to the comics, and it's just I've just one I've always enjoyed. I mean,
Maybe that's why I don't like it, because I don't like the Deadpool comics. I don't like the Deadpool comics. Maybe that's why I hate it. Not hate's a strong word. That's why I don't like it.
Anyway, Robert, what are some honorable mentions that you had?
Yeah, I'll run down mine real quick. Captain America was the one that I think should have at least gotten brought up. He's my favorite Avenger.
Then why didn't you bring him up?
Huh?
So
Because
why
I
didn't
had
you
the
bring him
higher.
up?
I just said the others rated higher, and I knew Brooklyn would have been no. Cyclops, Thor. I love the new direction in the movies they're taking. Doctor Strange is the better Iron Man. Heimdall, I just really like. And then I had some few that I was going to bring up towards the end just to like get one more yes and then save just cuz. And that was like Scourge from Thor Ragnarok and Korg. Like I would have brought those characters up. And then also the correct member of the Fantastic Four, the Human Torch, is the better portrayed in the films. Bucky Barnes and Odin as well were just like side dimensions that I wanted to bring up. That's it.
For me, like on my own side, for Groot, I had Jean Grey, I had She-Hulk, I had Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan.
Ooh,
I had Iron Fist, even though the
too.
TV series did not do him justice. I had Ross by Gwenpool. I actually had Squirrel Girl.
Oh, cool.
I even had Crake, Rogue, and Falcon on there, and a bunch of others. I'm not going to go through my whole list. We'll be here all day. So, anyway, down to the ranking portion. So we're going to write down who we want at number 12. Cody's already got his ready, I see.
I read it when it got nominated and put on the list.
Okay, so it's probably okay. Then I imagine what it is. Actually, I'm pretty sure I know what it is.
Take a guess before I turn it over.
Brooklyn, who do you want at 12?
It's Quicksilver.
Cody.
Moon Knight.
Matthew, who do you have at 12?
Deadpool.
Robert, who do you have at 12?
Moon Knight.
And I've got Quicksilver. Matt, you, who do you want between Quicksilver and Moon Knight at 12?
Quicksilver.
Fuck that.
All right, I like Moon Knight better.
No, it's fine. That wasn't a dig at you. That was just me being.
Okay.
Iron Giant sucks as a movie.
I wasn't a dig at you, Matt, I promise.
And that Quicksilver is at number 12. Everyone vote for their 11.
I apologize in advance. My marker is probably it's going here.
Excuses.
Sure. Tough times.
That was the best one.
Brooklyn, who do you have at 11?
Rocket Raccoon.
Cody, who do you have at 11?
Moon Knight, and I added little dots around it.
Matt, who do you have at 11?
Deadpool, and I didn't add anything to it.
Robert, who do you have at 11?
Moon Knight, and I circled it.
Yeah.
And with that, Moon Knight is 11 because I put Professor X.
That is ass.
You should just go to me first for the
Well, no,
continuals of these.
Yeah, I realized that as soon
But
as I.
just,
It's all good.
just
Okay.
assume until he gets put on this list, Deadpool is going to be my choice. Like, just assume it.
It's all right. I'm just surprised that that Cody went for Moon Knight when Deadpool was still on the table. So, Brooklyn, who do you have at 10?
Still Rocket Raccoon, but in red.
Cody, who do you have at 10?
Mr. Fanforstic.
Matt's got Deadpool. Robert, who do you have at 10?
Mr. Fantastic.
And I stuck with Professor X. Mr. Fantastic is unjustly at 10.
God, you read a comic. That's all I'm gonna say.
Watch a movie. That's all I'm gonna say.
Ooh.
Which is based on comic books.
As Josh McCougal say, put down the books, pick up the remote.
Don't listen to Makuga in this instance.
Hold on, I'm just
Hashtag
finding.
McCougal for Jeopardy.
That's true.
Brooklyn, who do you want at 9?
It's still Rocket Raccoon, but I wrote it in cursive this time.
Wait a second. Time. Can we just time out? I'm looking at this. It goes 12, 11, 11, 10.
Because I mistakenly wrote down Professor X instead of Moon Knight. But
Oh,
that's
okay.
so it's Moon. So don't ignore the Professor X one. That's why I put an asterisk beside Moon Knight.
Okay.
And anyway, the people on the other side and
They can't see it anyway.
in Millwood, they can't see the Hangouts chat now. Anyway,
That's just
so
for me. Just from a who's left.
Yeah. Robert, who do you have at 9?
Deadpool.
Brooklyn, who you've still got?
I had Rocket Raccoon, yeah.
Cody, who do you have at 9?
Go eat a chimichanga somewhere else, Deadpool.
Matt, you've still got Deadpool, I presume.
Thank God I can finally.
Well,
answer.
And I've got.
All right.
And with that, Deadpool is at 9. After Cody surprised us by saying he doesn't like 2 other characters over Deadpool, so.
Oh, because some shouldn't have made the list at all.
Anyway, Brooklyn's probably still got Rocket Raccoon.
I do have Rocket Raccoon, but it's written in cursive in black.
Cody, who do you have at 8?
Daredevil.
Matt, who do you have at 8?
Rocket Raccoon.
Robert, who do you have at 8?
Daredevil.
And I've got Professor X. So I've got to choose Rocket Raccoon and Daredevil, and it's an easy choice for me because I'm not going to say the name. I'm just going to just put it in here before I say it.
I can't see it.
I was just about to write Rocket Raccoon in bubble letters.
My God.
You can write your next one in
I
bubble.
was close.
Okay,
So what got there?
Rocket Raccoon.
Rocket Raccoon.
Rocket Raccoon is at 8. I was actually about to say that, but yeah. No, I don't know. I'm putting someone else down. Brooklyn, who do you want at 7?
I wrote Ant-Man in really tiny letters, though.
Ha! That's nice.
Cody, who do you have at 7?
Daredevil.
Matt, who do you have at 7?
Professor X.
Robert, who do you have at 7?
Daredevil still, yeah.
And I've got Professor X.
Ooh.
So Brooklyn, Professor X, or Daredevil?
Professor X.
This is my favorite part of Rankum, where we're all really silent.
And
We're judging each other real hard.
Yeah, we're like all silently like.
and damn it, now I have to write something out.
This is the part that Cody and I usually do the best at.
Yeah.
It's not a team event, guys. Like you don't have to go. You don't need a coaching session before you go in.
Unlike
Co-host on
this Schmodown Trivia Schmodown, which is a team event.
Yeah, you should learn
Hashtag
that.
plugs.
Brooklyn, who do you have at 6?
I wrote Ant-Man, but I wrote it in bigger letters because he grew.
Cody, who do you have at 6?
This is going to shock everybody, including the ones in Hell's Kitchen. Daredevil.
Matt, who do you have at 6?
Punisher.
Wow.
Robert, who do you have at 6?
Daredevil.
And I've also got Punisher. So Brooklyn, Punisher, or Daredevil?
Punisher.
And
Hey, Malcolm, stop screwing up Team USA in New Zealand. Damn.
Welcome. I literally gave you $20 before this started. What the hell, man?
Cancel payment.
It's too late. I've already spent it. I put $20 on the Schmodown Patreon.
Oh, nice. Worth it.
It's going to cancel next month. That sucks.
Anyway, Brooklyn, who do you have at 5?
I still have Ant-Man, but he moved north. So he moved north to Canada.
Cody, who do you have at 5?
Oh, I switched. Oh, no, I didn't. I put Daredevil.
Matt, who do you have at 5?
Ant-Man.
Robert, who do you have at 5? And so at the moment it's a tie between Daredevil and Ant-Man. You probably can't read it, but I put Jane Fonda.
Oh yeah, I can read it.
That was good.
No, Ant-Man is going to be 5.
Woo! What team?
Me and Brooklyn have.
Oh, how many left?
There were 4 more to rank. We have Wolverine, Hulk, Spider-Man, and Daredevil.
This is where it gets hard.
Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Hulk are after Daredevil? Okay.
Yep.
I think I know which two it's going to come down to for the top 2, but we'll see if that prediction is correct. But Brooklyn, who do you want at 4?
I have Wolverine, but I made the W look like his claws.
That's really terrible.
Thank you.
Just like Zach Ford of trying to put pictures on everything. Cody, who do you have at 4?
I put Daredevil, but I also gave Brooklyn an F in art, so Daredevil.
Matt, who do you have at 4?
Hulk.
Robert, who do you have it for?
Batfleck, Daredevil.
And I put Hulk. So, Brooklyn, Hulk or Deadpool?
Hulk.
You can't. Oh my.
Like, Malcolm, are you effing serious right now? You gave it a no vote in the freaking round, and you've let it go all the way to 3. Like, do you know? Oh my god.
Well, to be fair, even if I kept trying Hulk, it probably still would have been here at this point anyway. So I wouldn't. This
You
is the first
gave
time.
a yes to Hulk, and you gave a no to Daredevil.
He changed his mind, Cody.
Since like Brooklyn.
Anyway, Brooklyn, who do you want at 3?
I still have Wolverine, but he's up in the Northwest where he belongs in BC.
Cody, what do you want at 3?
I don't want this anywhere on the list, but apparently, since it had to be saved, it's gotten all the way to the 3rd location. Daredevil. This whole show makes no sense right now.
Why don't you crack open a comic book and it will make sense, Cody?
Or watch
Still does
Netflix.
not change the
Or
fact.
watch the Netflix series.
Watch
Doesn't
Netflix
change the
series.
fact.
That too.
Anyway, Matt,
Here you go, Cody. Daredevil.
You nominate.
And-
This whole show means it's anarchy.
and Robert.
Says the guy who teamed up with Robert.
Daredevil. We didn't team up on purpose.
Oh,
Wait,
that's a crock of shit if I ever did
That's
hear.
Well,
Every
I mean,
Rankum show, we have the same ideas. Deal with it, Brooklyn. Just
Yeah,
because
no,
your
it's not
Canadian
like- we
teammate
don't-
decided to bail on you.
We
and
don't
I mean,
corroborate.
and I
like-
mean, at this point, it's America and New Zealand are all teaming up against Canada because I also had Daredevil.
Cool.
And now
Is that the highest a saved nomination has made it on Rankum?
Probably.
It
It
deserves
has
its
to.
spot in the top 3.
But it got 2 votes at the beginning, got saved, and got all the way to 3. I'm just saying,
mean-
from the show perspective, that makes no sense. But is that the highest of saved nominees?
yeah, I mean, for me on my personal list,
All the
I
belts,
did-
all the records, Cody.
anyway, we vote on who we want for number 1.
For one.
Am I allowed
Cody
to vote for Stanley?
salty.
Oh my God, Cody.
No,
Can I
I'm
put
just asking
Stanley?
a question. Like that's crazy to me that 3 people on the panel said no, and then it's made it to top 3. But hey, if that's what you want to go with, cool.
Well, in saying that, he was in the first section of this, so we've had more time to sort of think about him and compared to all the other
I was
characters.
going to
that
say,
made
in
the list,
relation
so-
to the other choices.
That's true. He was the 3rd character brought up on our entire list.
Yeah, I mean, if it was near the end, we would have had less time to sort of think about it. And if he got saved at that point, maybe yeah. But anyway,
I
Brooklyn,
think I would have saved Scourge.
But anyway, who do you want at number 1, Brooklyn?
No cursive, no art, no anything. Just a regular old Spider-Man.
Cody, who do you want at number 1?
Brooklyn, who nominated Spider-Man?
Sure.
Thanks for making me top of the list, Spider-Man.
Sure.
Well, I mean, we don't know if he's top of the list yet.
He will
Matt,
be.
there's 3 people still to vote. Matt, who do you want
let
at number 1?
Well, I know Cody would be very happy if it had this, but I'm just into making Cody happy, so it's Spider-Man.
Yeah, and it's all right, Robert. I know what Robert has, so we're good.
Robert, what do you have at number?
My favorite comic character, it's Spidey.
And I've got the classic Spoderman.
As it should be unanimous.
Spooderman.
Spooderman.
Good old Spoderman.
Spooderman.
Which makes Wolverine number 2 and
Way too high.
Daredevil way too high.
he's the person from the same country as Wolverine. Anyway, that's our list of Marvel superheroes, and to run down who we've got. We've got Quicksilver at 12, Professor X at 11. No, we don't. We've got Moon Knight at 11. I stuffed up my own
Disrespectful.
stuff up. We've got Mr. Fantastic at number 10. We've got Deadpool at 9, Rocket Raccoon at 8, Professor X at 7, Punisher at 6, Ant-Man Hank Pym at 5, Hulk at number 4, Daredevil at 3, Wolverine at 2, and number 1 is Spider-Man. And that's our list. Next week is the start of our Rankum Oozing October, which is for the month of
Sorry,
Halloween.
what? You say Rankum Oozing October?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, because blood oozes down.
I'm gonna vomit.
And
I love it. I kind of love it.
And anyway, we're kicking it off in a big way with the master of horror books, even though he hasn't always written a horror. As we're doing Stephen King adaptations next week. And I can't actually remember the other ones that we've got coming up, but we've got
Halloween songs, TV specials, and
movies that take place on Halloween. I believe there's another one.
Yeah. But yeah, so I've got a Goosebump books as well as there. But yeah, so I've got a lot of good stuff coming up for you for October. But so there won't be a poll after this like there normally is. But Brooklyn, where can people find you online?
First off, I want to congratulate Cody from Take 3 for winning the Rankum. He feels really proud that he nominated the number one choice. So, props to him for picking the most obvious character of all of them. You can find me on Take 3 Productions running not one but two shows. You can find me on Jukebox Trivia on Mondays, where you can actually find a championship match. You have Luca Hopal taking on Matthew Rosa, and it's what's going to be a really high-scoring match. And then on Thursdays, you can find me on Late Night Take 3 with the release of WWE 2K19. We are talking about favorite wrestlers of all time. And you're actually going to find me in the ring trying to take Cody's Late Night with Take 3 mini speed MMA champion of the worldwide moving in rotation in America. Yeah.
Cody, where can people find you online?
Well, Brooklyn, yes, you picked the obvious one instead of dumbass choices like you chose. But on that note, you can find me. Am I breaking up again?
No.
Okay, just making sure. You can find me on Take 3 at Watch Along this Wednesday if Linus shows up or can make it. We're doing Superbad. If not, I guess it's Spider-Man 1, the same Raimi. We'll see how that works. You can find me on Thursday night beating Brooklyn like I do in most things as we debate favorite wrestlers. And you can find me on Rankum from time to time causing chaos and ticking everyone off.
Matt, where can people find you online?
You can find me online recommending Daredevil comics to Cody like every day until he reads one. But besides that, you can also find me at Currents_Matthew on Twitter, MattWade611 on YouTube, and right here as the co-host of Rhyme and Reason with Sandy Robinson. A new episode was supposed to drop this weekend, but my computer's a piece of shit. So it's dropping next week. We talk about our top 5 sports movies. You can also find me still as the intermediate host of the Reactor Summit, which drops tomorrow. And I'm going to be there until Kristen Smith takes it back from me. And eventually when she does, then second look will come back eventually. And you can also find me this week on the live show where I force these guys to go into the Thunderdome.
Thunderdome!
Thunderdome!
Robert, where can people find you online?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at RBRTPRKR98. That's my first and last name, no vowels plus a year. You can find me on the weekly podcast I do with my friend Zach Ford, where we talk movies, music, and other pop culture nonsense. That can be found everywhere podcasts are listened to at Fireside Chit Chat. You can find me doing hosting and admin duties here at Take 3 Productions, including every Wednesday night where me, Cody, and Linus Babcock host the weekly watch-alongs at 8 p.m. Eastern, where we pick a movie and watch it live along with you in the chat. And you can find me most recently playing for 2 trivia titles at Multiplex Entertainment. at their Mayhem Multiplex event.
And you can find me on Tape 3 hosting Rankum. You can also find me popping up on the live show this week. And you can also catch me on Manning's show, Gone with the Wind, as well as a whole bunch of other things where I'm needed to be on Take 3. And you can also find me competing in trivia on Multiplex and Full Metal and other places like that. You can also find me and Cody competing against Brooklyn and Harley in the Schmodown Trivia Schmodown match. Where I don't, where I'm not going to spoil it, but I don't know why why Brooklyn is dancing. But yeah,
guys, I'm cool.
Yeah.
I can do this dance. Look at me.
And you can find me on Twitter, Letterboxd, and Stardust at Melkor. And until next time, we'll see you.